What's up, guys? Welcome to the Saturday show. Now, on Saturdays, I like to go back through the week of Newswave and take a look at what you guys had to say based around the different topics that we talked about. If you did miss one, what I'll do is from now on actually leave links to the different days for the different Newswaves down in the description if you want to go back and see a little more about each day. But this will at least get you kind of caught up, and we'll take a look at some of the comments that were left. It's a lot of fun to see what you guys had to say. We're going to go through a few quick things as well, but as always, guys, enjoy these videos. Do hit the like button. It does help out. I actually picked the winner for the game console giveaway and sent the email out, so well, hopefully they can get back to me soonish so we can announce it on Monday coming up when we get that sent out, and I'll let you know what system they picked and everything, so we'll go over that. As for the next giveaway, if you're tuning into the Saturday show, you can, I guess, get a head start on it. We're just going to do a pretty easy giveaway, a $100 gift card to whatever shop that you want, whether it's the PlayStation Store, the Xbox Store, or the Switch Store. I was thinking about just giving away a game, but then I thought about it, and I'm actually going to have a hard time picking which game I want to play at the end of the month with Resident Evil and Kingdom Hearts. Then, of course, Travis Strikes Again is coming up. So I have a lot of things I'm looking at that I'm like, what do I play? So there might be some tough decisions there if I just say Kingdom Hearts being given away. This way you can pick. So that link is down in the description. You get entered for that. And we'll actually pick that towards the end of the month, I think like the last few days of the month. That way you can then pick what game in the week or in the month that came out that you want, or maybe you want an older one. It's up to you. As for today, though, we're going to start with some quick news. We're going to start with PT, as this has been obviously a cult classic for a lot of people, which means a lot of remakes. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're getting. People have been remaking PT a lot. We've been talking about remakes constantly. We've even talked about some that Konami actually shut down. Kind of a shame, obviously, as it'd be really cool to have it fully remade. Unreal Engine seems to be where a lot of people are going to remake this thing, and the latest remake includes VR support. Oh yes, so you can be terrified in VR when playing through PT. Here's actually a quick look at it, and what's interesting about this is while it is kind of busted, it's still pretty cool to be able to do this. This remake is called Unreal PT. It's done by Radius Gordello, and they also went through and detailed some of the minimum tested specs, which, by the way, are fairly low. They were able to apparently play it with an i3-7100U with an HD 620 integrated graphics, 8 gigabytes DDR4 memory, so you don't really need a lot to play this game. So if you have a video card at all, you should be able to go through this and try it out. If not, it's going to depend on your setup, but it might be worth downloading just to see how it works. Again, they detail VR as being kind of messed up, but you could still technically experience it, and trust me, as soon as VR and PT were put in the same sentence, you know tons of people are interested to the point where I bet you they get full compatibility out of it as they work through it. Either way, it seems like they put a lot of time and effort into this, where even the controls are explained as you start to work through, and they changed up the ending a bit to make it, I guess, feel more like you actually beat it. But either way, pretty cool. There's a link, of course, down in the description in the sources if you want to check this out, and I encourage you to do so before Konami shows up. And starting with the week on Monday, we talked about the crazy microtransactions in Black Ops 4, which now includes selling players a dot to help you aim. Persona 5R was also announced, with the PlayStation being the only console for now. Matt says, at least Activision isn't selling you ammo yet. You're giving them some ideas, Matt, okay? Trust me, Activision has probably thought of that. As bad as that sounds, I'm not surprised that they sat around in the boardroom and said, can we get away with selling premium ammo to people? Can we do that? What about health packs? Trust me, if this is the stuff that they're actually making public for us to buy, like a dot, the stuff that they've probably tossed around in the background has got to be really bad, right? If this is the kind of stuff that leaves their think tanks and their boardrooms, I mean, they must have some ideas in the background that we might see sooner than you think. And why? Well, that leads right into the next comment. Nightwolf says, I don't understand why games are resorting to things like loot boxes, those little Game Pass things, and microtransactions when they could probably make more money by just simply making a good game. So here's what's going on, Nightwolf. I'm going to explain this to you pretty easily. Actually, it can be summed up in one word: investors. They want a ton of profit and a little bit of cost. And it seems like live services is kind of where a lot of these companies are working towards. Basically, developing less games and keeping the current games that they have developed alive as long as possible, and of course adding on more stuff to buy. Honestly, if investors didn't exist that kept beating these companies down for more and more profits, they probably wouldn't have to think about, trying to design a new way to get $1 out of your pocket for things like a dot. They would just make another game, sell it, and move on. Think about it this way. Black Ops 4 made how much? $500 million in like its first week? Investors were disappointed with that. $500 million in a week, and they were disappointed. So yeah, Activision, they're running all over the place. They don't know what to do. So a dot, to them, it makes sense because it makes their investors happy. It's less about the audience in games now with some of these companies. Now, fortunately, first-party companies have more of a reason to create a good game without the need for microtransactions because they're trying to sell a system. That's why Sony and Nintendo, think of things like God of War and Spider-Man. Spider-Man had DLC, obviously tacked on because Insomniac was part of that, but they didn't have loot boxes or microtransactions outside of DLC that was sold. So yeah, I mean, you even see DLC, obviously, for Zelda. No loot boxes or anything thrown in there because they're trying to sell systems. Tuesday, we saw the head of Sonic team talk about wanting to go back and remake Sonic Adventure after talking about the experience the team has received working on 3D Sonic games since the late 90s. After talking about this possibility, fans got really excited, hoping to see this possibility come true. Gold says, SA1 and 2 Remake seems long overdue at this point, although with the crazy inconsistent quality of 3D Sonic games in recent years, I would be apprehensive that Sonic team will actually do a good job remaking those games. Yeah, it's kind of a coin flip almost at this point from what we've seen. However, one thing I would like to see is if they're not going to full-on remake Sonic Adventure 1, right? Maybe they're thinking, okay, what if we get this game and rather than rebuild it from like the ground up, maybe we make it look a lot better and even fix up some of the mechanics, add some quality of life features, and just put it out there. Hey, we're thinking about Sonic Adventure. What do you think about Sonic Adventure 1? Just a bit more up to standards. And then if people really buy into that, I bet you Sega goes, all right, full-on remake time, Sonic Adventure 2. And then if that's sold, well, the one thing that a lot of fans want is Sonic Adventure 3. And I feel like Sega could test the waters here, but you're right, they have to actually put some effort into it. We don't need another Sonic Boom or something, we don't need that. You need to go back and you gotta make a good Sonic game, and at least you have something that fans really like already, right? You're not trying to introduce and sell them on something like, I don't know, Sonic Forces, something new. You're going back and getting a game that a lot of people remember as liking. Whether they've gone back and played it since then, that's up to them. But they'll at least remember the fond memories of Sonic Adventure 1, and it's being remade. I think you're going to have a lot of people just show up, even from word of mouth. You don't have to buy, crazy expensive commercial spots or tons of money on marketing. You just say Sonic Adventure 1, people are going to run to the forums and start posting super excited about this remake. So I think they should at least try to remake the first one on a bit of a lower budget just to see how it's received and then go full on with Sonic Adventure 2 and then 3. That's what you got to do, Sega, and I think it would actually work out. Wednesday, we talked about a listing that was found on LinkedIn showing a software engineer who described their job as making EA's SDKs compatible for the Switch, making us think that something like their Frostbite engine could show up soon on the Switch. July says, EA not supporting the Switch is just leaving money on the table. Guaranteed something like Garden Warfare would do better there than anywhere else. A Way Out not being on Switch is baffling. So I assume A Way Out was being developed when the Switch was still kind of like, what is this thing? They didn't have dev kits. It's a whole thing. Who knows? I don't even think EA just didn't really care that much about the Switch. Of course, FIFA made its way over because Nintendo showed up and said, well, we got to get something like a big sports game like FIFA on there, and they helped to make that happen. But EA has been careful with the Switch, and honestly, it's hard to blame some of these companies after the Wii U because EA actually supported the Wii U, and it didn't work out for them. So I kind of understand why they were like, we'll wait and see how this works out. And so far it has, so I'm not shocked to hear that EA might be moving some games over. It makes sense. Now, do fans want that? Well, based on some of the comments on that video, probably not completely, but you gotta admit, you would have some people who are more casual gamers who buy a few games a year, and all of a sudden the Switch has Madden, which means Madden can be a portable system, a portable game for people who like that idea. Then, yeah, all of a sudden they're going to buy the Switch to play Madden, and then maybe they'll buy that version every year. Although FIFA's been okay of a seller on the Switch. It hasn't been amazing, but it's also not the complete FIFA, as it's missing like the single player and it's not in Frostbite and everything. So maybe they'll have that to that point, you know, next FIFA or the FIFA after, who knows. By the time EA decides to actually really push for the Switch, we might be like with the next Switch years from now or something. So we'll see, because if the Switch does continue to climb in sales for units and then the next generation restarts, I think at that point EA is going to start throwing some stuff on the Switch, because there's a massive user base, and of course the Xbox and the PlayStation are going to start rebuilding theirs. So we'll see. Thursday, we saw new rumors start to circulate about a possible Nintendo Direct to take place next Thursday, the 10th. While Nintendo Direct in January is pretty much expected at this point, trying to figure out what they could show us is anyone's guess. Darius says, I'm wondering if the Nintendo's Direct plans to showcase Metroid Prime 4 the same way Smash Bros. Was handled. Give them a teaser trailer at the end of the Direct and then a full-blown showcase at E3. So that's going to be dependent on if it is slated for 2019. And I'm trying to figure out if that will happen. It sounds crazy because we found out about Metroid Prime 4 the Switch's first E3, so in 2017, which means we could go through all of 2019 and still not see even a screenshot of Metroid Prime 4. I really do think they told us about Metroid Prime 4 maybe a few months after it even started development. So it's possible Prime 4 could be a 2020 release, because I question if they even need it for this year with the lineup we're seeing, because we don't even know all the stuff Nintendo's releasing. There's still stuff in the background that is apparently getting announced soonish, we'll see, but there's stuff happening in the background. 2019 appears to be a big year for the Switch, and I feel like Metroid Prime, honestly, if they need more time with Metroid Prime 4, because I do think the Metroid Prime series, as much as I like it, should evolve a bit for more the current times with games. I do think there are some things they should change up from previous Metroid Primes and bring it up to standards. And you know what? If they got to take more time, they got to take more time. And the nice thing about Nintendo is, while 2018 wasn't their best year, obviously after kind of following up from 2017, which was ridiculous, 2019 looks to be better than 2017, and we're just getting started. We're going to go into the Direct that's apparently coming up. We'll go into E3, and then we're going to see a holiday that I think is going to be pretty stuffed full of games. I don't even really know where Metroid would work in, and we'll talk more about that at least after this soonish Direct. Mikey says, Soulja Boy is the creator of the Mad console because he mad that Nintendo stole his property without his permission. So we already know that the studio's apparently creating this console, this Mad console, the Project Cars 2 developers, that studio, and Need for Speed Shift. But you joke about Soulja Boy with that, but he actually said that he wants in on that tweet. So there you go. Honestly, if he actually invests money into that, that's much better than what he was doing before. And that's actually kind of what I was suggesting in one of my videos, that, hey, Atari Box, while we all laugh at it, that's at least a solid venture compared to what he was doing. And if he actually does invest in this Mad console, this whatever this thing's going to be, apparently it's going to be a beast of a system. It sounds like a PC. Apparently it's going to be a system. If he actually invests in that and it takes off and his name's on it, then there you go. Soulja Boy is technically part of the gaming industry, as helping to fund and create the Mad console. Finally, on Friday, we talked about an amended law in Japan that has now made modifying your save games illegal for your Switch or your PlayStation 4 or your PC. We also talked about a mystery Marvel game that is going to be worked on by ex-Hearthstone developers. SN says, John, many sites reporting that the Marvel game is a mobile game because of the NetEase involvement. So here's my thought about the NetEase involvement that would automatically make it a mobile game. I don't believe that at all, mostly because NetEase also invested $100 million into Bungie for them to create their own IP, their own game. And do you think Bungie's going to make a mobile game? No, I don't think so. People, of course, attribute and take NetEase and say, okay, they're mobile developers only, but doesn't necessarily mean that's the case. They just invest. They make a lot of money, obviously, from their mobile stuff. That's why they have this kind of money to throw around. But just because they've had their hand in a lot of mobile games doesn't necessarily mean they only want to do mobile games. And all they're doing is investing, and they just threw $100 million at Bungie. Here's $30 million to these developers that did Hearthstone and go do this Marvel game. Doesn't necessarily mean it's just a mobile game. Now, it absolutely could be, and they said, oh, we can do this easy because we already have experience with mobile and and with Hearthstone. We'll just make this quick Marvel game. Well, maybe not quick. It's $30 million. I assume there's a lot of time spent there. Maybe we'll just do this Marvel mobile game and we'll make a bunch of money from it. Or, hey, maybe they have their sights set on a live service style game on Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC. Who knows? But just because NetEase is involved doesn't necessarily mean it's just a mobile game. Otherwise, Bungie's apparently making a mobile game with $100 million. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for the Saturday show. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit the like button. It does help out. If not, hit the dislike and leave comments below about everything we talked about, whether it's Sonic Adventure possibly getting a remake. Would you like to see that? How would you like to see them go about it? Do 1, 2, and then be a big blowout with 3. Would you like to see something like that? I think that'd be kind of cool. And then also, let me know what you think about the Nintendo Direct plans that seem to be coming up, at least in January. I don't think it's a secret that there would probably be a January Direct to lay out the roadmap for 2019, considering we don't really have any other release dates beyond New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. That's a long title. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.